Hello everybody, Phobos here. Welcome to episode 15 of our Let's Play series here on the KubiKraft server. Right now I'm standing in front of the newest addition to the Community XP farm, which is our post office, which is actually pretty exciting that we have one of those now. If I'm not mistaken, this was actually put up by Rusty, and I'm really a big fan of the way that it's been done. You'll notice that the shulker boxes have actually been used and they're put in the opposite direction. So instead of them opening out, right, we actually get to see the cool little pattern on the bottom that's really underappreciated in this game. So yeah, our mailbox is over here, and we're going to start off by just checking it out, and empty because nobody loves us. That's okay, that's okay. So we finally have a little enchanting area, which is cool, anvil, all that fun stuff with the XP farm right here, which is pretty fantastic. Now, to talk about a couple of other things, it's been a little bit since I uploaded an episode, and there's a really good reason why. Basically, I spent the past couple of weeks failing miserably at everything I've tried to do, and on top of that, I wound up getting sick, and the server wound up crashing, and just there's been all kinds of little things just keeping me away from producing a video. And yeah, then when I finally was like, okay, I think I have little bits of footage, let's just put them all together, it made no sense at all. So my goal for today is a bit of an ambitious one. It is 7:40 a.m. where I am right now. I'm just waking up, still working on my first cup of coffee as always, and we are going to do a new episode from start to finish today, uploaded by the end of today. We'll see how it goes. So the theme that I've planned for today is testing out our server in a variety of ways, especially because we did just recently go through a bit of a crash. Yep, that's right. Apparently, as it turns out, when running a Linux operating system, there's a dot beside a slash that can somehow wipe out the entire system. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm sure that Kyle Kerr could agree that it's been a bit of a challenge and that the server does seem to be running quite well. So, what I've decided to do is readdress the lag issue, because before it crashed, I was doing a little bit of footage to try to rule out the mob farm as the sole source of lag on the server. Because basically, when I had originally said, hey, Kyle, you up the render distance and it's kind of laggy now, his response was, yeah, well, is your mob farm still on? I'm like, really? You're blaming the mob farm? Okay. Now, the testing that I had done before the server went down was pretty conclusive. So we are going to recreate that test today with the new server being the way that it is, just to see if it is on par with how it was before, if things are better, if things are worse, all that fun stuff. Basically what I had done was that nether portal that's right behind me, I would walk through it, and we found out that it would take 15 seconds to load the world to an acceptable level. And I'm going to show you how we did it. So like I was just saying, we would step through here, and then we would do something that I call the chicken test. Now you'll notice that the animals here are pretty well staying still. Now I don't see any chickens per se. There we go. We have one that's flapping there continuously, and then they all spring into action, which that actually felt pretty snappy. Huh. I wonder if it helped to fix some of the lag. Maybe the crash was actually a good thing. Let's actually measure it. Starting timer now. Jumping over here, finding chickens. Yes, so we see that there's two chickens there that are continuously flapping, and the second they stop is when I stop the timer, because that's when it's safe for us to fly. So we have our weapons and everything loaded, which is great. And any second now, chickens will stop flapping. There we go. So we're running at, 18 seconds. I used to be 14.9 or something like that. Ouch. Okay, now there's a lot of reasons why it could wind up being like that, and apparently it could be the mob farm. So we're going to take a moment to turn that off, even though it's not even loaded yet. It couldn't, therefore, have anything to do with it. Then we're just going to test it. So here we are on the roof of the darkroom spawner, and we're just going to take a moment to throw this switch here. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, now that we've done that, job's over and all that fun stuff. But no. Because dispensers are a lot of fun, we always have to come down here and double check. So let's just get our block back, wherever that went. We'll find another block, no worries. But here we are inside the darkroom spawner, and if I'm right, those are good, those ones are not. I don't know why they go out of sync. It makes no sense, because we have a observer firing down to light that up, firing down to light that up. Like sometimes I'll see this one has water, this one doesn't. It makes no sense to me, but we're going to fix it, and then we're going to rerun the test. So now that this is all back in sync the way it's supposed to be, we can rerun our test and see if this farm is actually causing the lag on the server or not. Where is that growl coming from? Hello? I see you. Goodbye. So here we are back on the nether roof, and we're going to be walking through this portal. We've given ample time to let these chunks load and to let the other ones unload and all that fun stuff. So we're going to run a test, and any second now we're going to start it up. Okay, starting the timer. Finding the chickens. And like I said, what we're looking for, you'll notice that they're all flapping in unison. So the second that they stop that, 12 seconds. Interesting. Very interesting. So the one thing that I didn't really do the last time that I did this test was run it multiple times with both the farm being on and off. What happened was I had gotten 3 15-second results in a row and was like, well, it's pretty consistent, so whatever. Now, we also have somebody else online, so that might be throwing things off just a little bit too. So we're going to run this a couple more times, both on and off, and we'll come back with the results. So here we are, guys, in the drop shop. Just to talk about our results, the reason why I'm in the drop shop is because, if you listen, there's no rain. It's fantastic. I just didn't want to wait for the rain, so I just kind of came in here, double-checked our chests, no new sales, awesome, and yeah, now we can talk about the results. So it seems that there's a lot more variation now than there was before the server crash, which is interesting, and I don't know if it's just because I didn't notice it before. Like, say, my testing just came back, you know, basically I didn't run it enough times to really know, but what I did was I actually walked into the nether, walked back into the overworld, and done what I've now come to call the animal spring test, because you can see all the... Zombie? There you are. Interrupting my channel. As I was saying before we were ever so rudely interrupted, yeah, ran it 5 times, entering the nether, waiting exactly 1 minute, I actually timed it out, walking back in, and then doing the animal spring test, because basically I noticed that sometimes the chickens would, one of them would stop flapping before the others, but there was a noticeable point where all the animals just sprung into action. So yeah, animal spring test. So the actual results are kind of a little bit weird. It actually took longer to load it with the mob farm off than it did on. And honestly, it was an average of 1 second difference. And I'm just going to chalk that up to the fact that there was a couple times that it took 18 seconds to load with the farm off, and it only took 1 time to load 18 seconds with the farm on. Honestly, I think at this point it just means that the mob farm has nothing to do with how fast the server loads chunks. So my recommendation for anybody who's on the server is to just wait up here until we see these animals spring into action, which will happen any second now. You'll see exactly what I mean. See, everything just kind of zipped off. That wasn't a particularly good example of one, because a lot of them just decided to stand still, but you definitely saw one zip off, right? That's what you're looking for, and then at that point, you know that it's safe. And what exactly do I mean by safe? Well, let's just demonstrate. I used to just kind of come through here, fly off the edge, and just assume that I could fly double tapping, and okay, hit the ground, and still can't rockets, still can't use rockets, not allowing me to use my rockets, can't fly, haven't taken any damage yet though, but there it all is in once, and boom. So, almost dying just because I didn't know that I had to wait until the animals moved. A little bit of an inconvenience, especially for those who aren't as familiar with the server as the people, like say if somebody was new or something like that. So that's why I thought it was worth mentioning and all that fun stuff. Alright guys, so we have a bit of a to-do list, and I think that a good place to start is actually going to be doing the caving and surface lighting. Now, as you can see here, the spawners are currently turned off, and we're not really getting any mobs. This is a bit of a problem. We should be able to get mobs here no matter what. Now, in all fairness, there are other people on the server, so that could be impacting it. but generally speaking, we should literally be able to, like, say, under ideal conditions, just rely on the dark room here, and currently we can't, so we're going to fix that. Alright guys, a little bit of a progress report. We've got most of the lighting done in the area, and yeah, I'm just kind of wrapping up one of our last ravines here. Something interesting has happened. Up until now, it's been pretty safe. I mean, the odd mob here and there, but not a big deal. But yeah, basically what was happening was I was on the server while other people were on, which always means less mobs per person, and, well, same amount of mobs per person. Anyway, long story short, like, it gets distributed more, and also they had other places to spawn because by definition I was lighting everything up. Now, I literally had like 4 or 5 zombies, a skeleton, and a creeper chasing me just a moment ago, hence why I went and grabbed the camera, because yeah, things were getting pretty interesting around here. So far, seems to have died down. I'm not entirely certain why that is, but any moment now the action could be picking up. Hello, Mr. Creeper. So as we can see here, for the moment, they seem to have mostly spawned over here, which is good. I'm not entirely certain why, but I was actually down there when they were all spawning up here. So probably has something to do with the 24 block thing, which is pretty good. But yeah, you can see that things are going to get dicey once we actually jump down here. So yeah, looking forward to that. That Enderman's making me a little bit nervous, not gonna lie. Because what if I just happened to look in the wrong spot? I kind of forgot that Endermen were even a thing. I must say, this is probably one of the worst ravines I've ever had to do. There are mobs everywhere, and there's just so many levels that need to be lit up. But in the end, it's going to be worth it.
All shall bow before me, for I am Phobos, crusher of worlds.
It's so fun to play that. Actually, no, I'm just in creative mode here. No big deal. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Creative mode, isn't that cheating? Well, it would be if we were actually on the server. This here is a mock-up of the server, and if you're wondering how I was actually able to get it so accurate, well, technically, I downloaded it. So there's a mod that allows you to do these things, and I'll leave it in the description below for people who are interested. It's basically designed to allow people to save their bases on multiplayer servers and, kind of keep them forever and all that kind of stuff. But I thought it would be a really great way for us to make sure that we're actually taking care of all the lighting on the surface, all the lighting in the caves, all of that fun stuff. So, with that being said, first thing that I like to do is basically throw up a concrete wall around this farm area. Because even though I originally started with a 200 block perimeter around that tree over there, I've realized that I have a full-time job and I don't have time to make sure that literally everything is lit up. So we're just going to focus on the mob farm here and make it so that as long as you're the only person on the server, we can say, yeah, you know what, it's pretty efficient. So it's as efficient as it can be. Now, on the surface here, we've already done a lot of work, as you can see. Now, it gets a little bit tricky to know exactly what areas, need to be taken care of and whatnot, which is why I like to use a particular resource pack. It's called Danger Zone. It works with another mod called Optifine. And yeah, basically what it does is everywhere that a mob can spawn, at least in terms of light levels, because that's the only thing it looks at, everything that a mob can spawn is red. Now, like I said, not everything is going to be accurate. Like, for example, up on the lip here, those are half slabs. So yes, it's dark enough for them to spawn, but they literally can't. However, that's a bit concerning. I never noticed that before. So that's going to get corrected. But yeah, basically it's going to let us take a look here and actually figure out where our problem areas are. Like this over here, apparently we haven't touched yet. So that's good to know. And this whole area back here apparently needs to be lit up as well. So when we're in the mob farm, mobs are actually spawning over here, cutting into our efficiency a little bit. And that's why it does work a little bit better during the day than it does at night. So we're going to fix that. But we're also going to use this particular technique to look under the surface as well. So what I'm going to do is take a couple of screenshots here, just for future reference, and then I'm going to do a little trick that takes some setup, and I'll be right back in a moment once all that's done. So this here is one of the houses in the community area, and it's a fairly standard sized house and all that fun stuff, and just to kind of give an idea of the scale of what my trick involved was, behold, this here is a cylinder that is 128 block in radius, and the whole reason why I did that was because I completely filled it so that we can get a true X-ray image of the inside. Because the tricky part is once you start to go up, if you're past where the ground is, then you're no longer in X-ray mode. So in order to actually get a good view of the whole thing, you kind of have to build a giant cylinder. And then on top of that, I actually had to leave an air gap kind of surrounding the cylinder too, where it goes underground. So that way there is a different, like a little bit of contrast. Otherwise it would have just kept going. So lots of work was done, and you can see that it's a pretty well lit area. I mean, like most of it looks like some kind of a bright gray, which I can contrast over here. If we just take a look at some of the other areas that are not lit up, you can see a noticeable difference. So I mean, like we're doing a really good job here. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to turn on Danger Zone just to find out all the little places that we've missed out on. Because I want this thing to be as close to perfect as possible so that when other people are on the server, we can at least get something. So there's a couple of little pockets like this that we're not going to worry too much about just because nothing can really spawn in there. So there's no point in actually digging down and all that fun stuff. And of course, areas like these walls here can't spawn anything. So I've already gone through all the ravines with a fine-tooth comb. Some points of interest, though, are other people's mine shafts. People, light up your mine shafts. You're making more work for me here. So anyway, I had to go through and relight all of these here, except for like that's like just little holes. No big deal there. But yeah, and of course there was a bit of a mess that I had left over here somewhere. Yes. So areas like this, of course, I just didn't wind up lighting up when I was down here. I don't think I ever showed you guys this. This here was just me going absolutely crazy with a pickaxe one day and a haste 2 beacon. So this was actually before we had our iron farm, before we even had our first beacon. Whole point of this was to get the... Oh, okay. The whole point of this was to get the iron for the beacon. So, yeah. Anyway. Little areas like that. Anyway, so we're gonna go and just light up the rest of the little bits, and we'll be right back. Okay, that's enough. I've had it. That's all the caving and all the lighting that I'm gonna do. And you know what? I think we've hit something like 98%. So we did good. We did good. So we're just gonna take a look at the results here. So I've made it night just to show how bright this area is. It looks like there's barely anything at all that is not lit up right now. And if we actually kick it over into Danger Zone, You can see here that more than enough of it is lit up as well. I mean, there's a few spots like over there that are still spawnable, and I might decide to go and get those later on. But honestly, the major areas were this whole back here, this whole area here. Like that was like a good quarter of the map almost that that still needed to be lit up. So significant progress that way. Areas like this are all half slabbed, so that's why I didn't bother worrying about that. And you can pretty well see the same story underneath as well. Like if we just kind of fly around here a little bit, you can definitely tell that there's not a whole lot left unlit. So yeah, I'd say that we're definitely done here. Now that's where the wall is, and of course that's where all of the unlit caves start. So somebody else can take care of those. Like I said, I'm done. That's as done as this is going to get. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the moment of truth, we are going to finally find out just how efficient this thing actually is on the server. Why? We are alone. We are the only people on this server. So now I say that we go ahead and just check out the rates. Now, we have a little sensor here. Good. Nighttime. That light is off, which means it's night. And we've already got a contestant. That's fantastic. See, already this is much better than any of our tests before, and it's at night. I am so excited about this. And if we wait just a couple seconds here, we still got a couple more guys coming in here. It's not as crazy as the first model that I'd shown in creative. And when I actually take this into, let's turn down these mobs. Sounds, why can't I see sounds right now? There it is, okay. And hostiles, yeah. Goodbye. Stop talking. So anyway, yeah. When we were first running our tests in the creative world in like what, episode 4 or something like that, yeah, this thing was just chucking out mobs like crazy. And of course, once I download this, we play with it too. It's just it's unreal. The mob cap seems kind of low, so we actually have to keep killing these guys to keep getting more. But hey, you know what? That's good. We don't have any help from the spawner whatsoever. So we just get rid of this guy, and any second now, we're going to have more mobs. Boom. Right like that. And it's still nighttime. It's beautiful. And that just goes to show that the surface is definitely well lit. But with that, guys, I'm going to have to say that, yeah, this episode has been a long time coming, and it's about time that we start wrapping everything up. So if you like what you saw here today, definitely hit that like button. And if you want to see more, then make sure to subscribe, hit that notify button, all that fun stuff. It's not your first episode. You guys know what to do. However, this is Phobos signing off. Enjoy.